What's going on, guys? This is Matt at Malibu Longboards. Just wanted to touch base and go over a quick video on how to read the swell report. This is kind of critical if you want to know where to go, especially if it gets really big or really small. This will kind of guide you on where to go. So I put this link up on the site, MalibuLongboards.com. You just click on swell report. That will take you to the Scripps Institute, University of San Diego, UCSD, and then we can get into reading this. And you can dial this in to get closer. So this is just the overall Southern California map view, but this is what I basically look at. And we can see, I want to show you a couple numbers here so you can see what's going on. Okay. So, you can see that it's color-coded like an old USA Today weather map. And then you can see as the swell comes in, this darker blue is smaller and the green is bigger. And you can see some green here hitting the shore, and you can go up here to see how big that is. But let's go to the numbers that you can just look at. So, we have two swells going on at all times. One from the north, one from the south. This first number here, 2.5 and 3.2, this is the height of the swell from peak to trough out in the middle of the ocean where these buoys are. It measures it peak to trough. So let's just concentrate on the South Pacific today because that's where the swell is coming from, majority. And that's 3.2 feet, top to bottom. Now, what to keep in mind is that's out in the middle of the ocean. So when that hits Malibu, or the beaches or the points, depending on how that bottom is of that part of the shore, it jacks up. So 3.2 is a fairly decent sized swell for like Malibu. That'll jack up overhead, no problem. So keep that in mind. 3.2 does not mean it's 3 foot at the beach. It's probably double that. So whenever you see these numbers, just double it. The next number we come across is the intervals, and that's the from the peak to the trough to the next wave peak, from the two peaks, how many seconds that is in between those two. This is critical because this determines how organized that swell is, or how far away did that swell come from. So usually if it's like from thousands of miles away, like a big winter storm or even a south swell hurricane, this number will go up higher. So 15 is reasonably organized. This might average 12. So when you see 15, you're like, oh, okay, that's a pretty organized swell. Now when it gets up to like 18 and when it's massive, this will get up to 20 seconds on a north swell. I think the highest I've seen on a south swell is about 18 and about 20 on a north swell. That'll tell you that that is a very organized swell. It's coming from far away. There's a lot of time in between waves and in between sets, which makes it a better surfing experience typically. So right now we see the north swells coming out at 11. That's borderline wind swell, where it's just like one wave after another. We get a lot of that different times of the year, but you can check and see, is this an organized swell or is this a wind swell? You might see that number go down as low as like 8 seconds or something. Then you know, hey man, that's just chop crap. Forget about it. So that's another number to keep an eye on, is those intervals. This will kind of tell you the quality. And then lastly is the swell direction. And this is critical because we have islands and the shoreline changes direction. You know, this faces north. This one faces south. Depending on the time of year, it tells you, you know, you can kind of figure out where it's going to be good. So right now it's out of 180, which is pretty much just a straight up south swell, and it's getting blocked. A lot of the South Bay, if you see this dark blue in here, it's being blocked by Catalina, a little bit of a shadow of Palos Verdes, and you can see that's getting blocked. And then as you get like towards Venice, it starts to pick up. Santa Monica, Sunset, Malibu, this is pretty much hitting full on. I can see there's some action up here at C Street. Then of course when you get into Santa Barbara, it's completely blocked out by the Channel Islands here, and you can see it's totally dark blue, and that stretches, you know, all the way north of Santa Barbara. So you, and then in the wintertime, this could be in the opposite. In other words, these south ends are getting blocked a little bit, the south facing I should say, and then the, like Palos Verdes, they'll get most of their waves in the wintertime from that northwest swell. So those are the basics of this, and you can dial this in closer to get to the coastline, but I can just glance at this, I can glance at these numbers, and eventually you'll be an expert on the swell direction as far as like, oh, if you go here at 190 degrees it'll be better, so forth. But it'll take a little time. But I can look at this right now and go, oh, okay, we've got a pretty good size south swell. It's pretty organized. It's not massive, but it's going to be fun and consistent for sure. And there's, you know, those are the only numbers I need to see. And then the color map kind of helps just for geographical purposes if you want to see it like it's hitting like down here, Orange County, South Orange County, North San Diego County. It's hitting pretty much full on, so they're getting it pretty good. And just keep in mind that that number jacks up to double. So even if this said like 2.3 instead of 3.2, that would still be a pretty good south swell at the south-facing beaches like Malibu. All right, guys, check out the website. You'll see the link here, Swell Report. This is run out of UCSD, the Scripps Institute. So this is basically what all the surf reports are going to go off. And just like that, this video update's over, and I'm out. Good luck.
Wow.